hey, Jar Jar. Yes, new animations. I also dabble in a bit of Cinema 4D, and well, I mean, actually, my real job that pays me money is as a video producer, and I do a bit of everything. Motion graphics being a more recent, endeavor to try and master, and it's really hard. Anyway, this is Cinema 4D and X Particles. Motion graphics being hold on, I'm just going to sort some volume issues out. So yeah, I'm going to get started in a few minutes. Just going to leave this little ambient thing running for a bit. Start at 2. So just chill out. I'm going to get myself something to drink. And, oh yeah, of course, I am actually also live on my Facebook and Twitch. And is there anyone there? Is there anyone over in Facebook and Twitch land? Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet, but there will be. Okay. Big ups, Holtz and Jar Jar. Glad you're liking those animations. I'm going to be starting in a couple of minutes, just getting a few things together. Okay, I'm back. Just about ready to start here, excuse me. No cores on my Twitch. Hey Mike. And Pete, as always, thank you for your support. Holtz is getting antsy over on the Whalebone app because he wants me to start playing, or start doing something. So I'm going to start doing something. Start getting these cameras up. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping that these can become more, well, I just want to be more like Colin Bender's basically, because he, well, in so many ways, but one of the things I really like about his streams is that he really knows how to take his time, and he's never in a rush. It doesn't seem to me that he is ever in a rush about anything. He just hangs out with his audience, and he has this amazing community that have sprung up around him, and they're helping him and supporting him and doing stuff for him, and just generally being an awesome team. But in terms of how he actually delivers his broadcasts, I really like how he just, he spends a lot of time talking and patching. He's just plugging stuff in. And, he's musing on previous episodes, what worked, what didn't, problems with clocking or problems with a particular module. And, his audience are very tuned into what he's doing and how he's doing it. And it's really fascinating to observe that. But yeah, when I play, I always feel like I'm playing a gig and I have to rush through and always be making interesting stuff happen. And I really want to try and just explore sound design and stop things. Okay, boom, I'm going to stop that. No more sounds. It's just my voice. I never do that. But I want to spend a bit of time maybe designing a new sound on, say, this Matrix Brute, and then once we get something cool, then we can start making a track. So something a bit different today. Just going to mess around with some sound design, and we will get into the music. Don't worry. Yeah, forgot to clear my patterns. It's a very good idea to clear your patterns first. I am starting the clock though, and I'm going to put it down to 105 or something really languid. So even if we do get into beats, it's going to be pretty chill. I think I'll leave the mic on as well. Hopefully that works. I'm going to stick my headphones on so we don't get too much feedback. And let's see what we can get out of the Matrix Brute. I don't even know what kind of a sound I want to make yet. Should I make a really gnarly bass sound, or should I make some kind of a swelling atmospheric rise, or I don't know yet. As always, in the comments, let me know. But I think I might just start with a completely vanilla patch on this thing. Stick the keyhold on. Start listening to what this thing actually sounds like. We've got 3 oscillators. So this is VCO1. And each VCO is very complex. Has really 4 oscillators inside it. It has a sub oscillator, which is either a sine or a square wave, and then 3 other kind of upper harmonic waves. We've got a sawtooth, a square wave, and a triangle wave. And each of those also has these kind of harmonic add-ons. This being the metalizer, and here we have pulse width. These are all very kind of classic synthesizer techniques. Ultra saw, just with some thickness. I'm going to start with that. Nice to put a kind of a harmonic on the second oscillator to kind of flesh out what might be a chord-like tone. So on the second VCO, I'm bringing in now, try and tune an interesting harmonic. It's very sour. Quite dramatic. That's kind of nice. So when I'm doing sound design on a synth like this, I'm sort of looking for two layers, basically. I'm looking for kind of meat, the lower mid-range or below kind of body, but then I also want to be able to have a certain amount of control over the upper harmonics and how those are created. Obviously, if you introduce a wave with a lot of harmonics in it, like a sawtooth or a square wave, then you will get those. But the way that the waves are sort of smashed together often yield some very interesting results. And also, of course, a little bit of modulation. So I'm going to modulate the pulse width of this square wave that is going on VCO2. This is very, very bog standard synthesis, so I am mapping, you know what, I'm going to move my camera closer. The whole point of having this thing, closer to the matrix brute so you can see what I'm doing. Just check that. Yep, that'll do. And yeah, we're gonna modulate the pulse width with an LFO. So we go map LFO 1, 2. We're gonna go VCO2 pulse width. So I've enabled that, and then you're kind of dialing in an intensity. Okay, so something that I think is kind of interesting is, you know, using an envelope to modulate the speed of the LFO. So we can do that too. And there's a separate envelope just for that kind of purpose. So we're going to use envelope 3 to modulate the rate of LFO1. And to do that, we have to make a manual assignment because the matrix brute only has a certain number of kind of preset assignment destinations, but you have 4 custom. So yeah, I'm going to map the LFO1 rate to my custom destination, number 13. And then I'm going to say envelope 3 to custom destination, that much. Okay? And now, I'm going to take off the keyhold. And when I press a note, hopefully you can hear that. Action. I can also make it rise then fall. And when you get those really fast modulations, that creates a new kind of harmonic timbre, basically because it's almost like creating another oscillator in itself. It's oscillating so quickly, the pulse width is moving so fast that it's basically making another tone for us, and we sort of hear us drift in and out of these kind of like harmonic biting points. If I took the modulation off, and I just manually placed, I'm going to take that off as well. And if I just this kind of like extra, we're kind of getting two pitches for one. We're getting that sort of first harmonic, the lower one being the actual tonic. So remember, we're making a kind of a chord here. So by adding the modulation to the pulse width of the square wave, CO2, we're now getting this extra pitch. But now I'm hearing that this is just it's too sour. So I'm going to just change the. See, that is already much more. Sounds like up and down an octave does the pitching track. Stick some blind on there. And then, you know, another classic synthesis technique is to use key tracking to control the filter cutoff. So that basically when we're kind of low down here, we don't want to hear too much of the harmonics, but when we're up here, we want to hear, we want like that much maybe. So how do we do that? Well, again, there's modulation on the matrix root, what they call keyboard. So I'm going to map keyboard to filter Steiner and ladder. Where we want to be up there, then when we hit the low note, it's closed a bit. We're going to max this out. And then let's see what we get here. Not enough. But a bit. Really hear it up there. Well, that's a pretty nasty sound. Let's see if we can make it even more nasty. It has an external oscillator input, and I already have it patched up. So I have an Intelligible Shapeshifter, which is a digital wavetable oscillator, and it can make some extremely gnarly sound. So we're gonna get that in the mix. It's very hot. Kicks out a lot of signal. Thanks a lot, Holtz, man. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so over on the Shapeshifter. In fact, I'll just isolate. So now we're only hearing the shapeshifter. And I'm going to turn it down a bit. Sorry if that's too loud. So here's our shapeshifter, and I think I want to just whack it down an entire octave. I'll just do it here. That's good. Yep. It's good enough for me. And then, so basically, it's a wavetable oscillator, and we have different waves, or wavetables that we can choose from. That's what these are. So yeah, I'm basically like sweeping through. I'm going to turn the FM modulation off. Now we're just hearing this bass rec wavetable, and we can hear everything that it's got in it. So it starts, okay, so it starts off with what sounds like a kind of sine-ish with some harmonics in it, and then we're sweeping through. That's definitely more sine. Now it's bringing in a sort of a lower subharmonic, and you know, so talk about sort of sweeping, you know, nosing through these different little slices. But then, and this is like the most basic you can get with this thing. It goes very, very deep, but you can then smash the other oscillator, because it has two oscillators. You can smash it into the first one in a variety of ways, and frequency modulation is the simplest of those, or the most easily accessible, because there's a dial right here. And when I turn this up, I'm basically getting the pitch of oscillator 2 to kind of screw around with the pitch of oscillator 1. And that can become even more noticeable when we put it into LFO mode. And I'm going to change this to very basic waveform. So now oscillator 2 is doing this pitch rising and falling to oscillator 1 via the FM knob, and it's just doing it really, 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 really slowly. But I can change the speed of that. So this is all like LFO frequency level stuff. It's too slow to really hear a tone, but I can put it back into audio frequency, and now we're getting some very interesting harmonics indeed. So, what I'm hoping I can do is I can use some of the modulation in the matrix brute. That sounds just like the Prodigy. Smack my bitch up. Doesn't it? I need to be an octave lower. Anyway, let's see if I can modulate this. So this is the FM control. So it has obviously an input jack for that, and I'm going to see if I can get something out of the matrix brute. Hopefully my cables are long enough. I'm going to go into the FM input, and we're going to go around the back here, and CV out. Let's have, could use the LFO 1. Maybe the filter cut off. So it's tracking with the filter. I think it is anyway. That doesn't seem to really be doing what I thought it would do. not doing what I thought it was going to do. I must say I'm a little confused by some of the CV outputs on the Matrix Brute. And I'm a little annoyed that you cannot get, you know, the envelopes out of it. It seems ridiculous to me. So I'm going to try using the LFO1 amount. Also not doing what I thought it would do. Oh, I see. There it is. Right, I see. Okay, so maybe I can do envelope 3 to LFO1 amount. What is that going to do? Turn off hold. There we go. That's it. Okay, so now I am controlling. I am now controlling the FM amount. Just dial it back so it's not so ridiculous. Well, that is very acid. Let's see if we can get our filters to behave in a similar fashion so they kind of snap. They start very open and snap closed relatively quickly. So if I add the envelope amount, I'll move the camera. So, I'm trying to get it to kind of snap shut. Sort of doing it. Alright, that is doing it. I just need more harmonics to be able to tell. This camera keeps moving around. Like this, I'm kind of looking for ways to get this to sort of sound harmonically pleasing while still remaining kind of weird. Sort of doing it. So one other function that the Shapeshifter has is a pitch quantizer for the FM synthesis, so it basically forces the pitch of the modulate or the modulating wave to be harmonically sympathetic. So now, hopefully, so now we get something that actually makes sense. we have heard this sound before. But it's still pretty fat. Okay, you know what? We're going to come back to that sound. We're going to use that sound later for something. We're going to go somewhere else now. We're going to go back over to modular land, and we are going to do a thing that I usually do, which is play around with the Morphogen to get some sort of ambient tones or drones or, you know, a sort of a bed. Basically, this thing is playing back little slices of audio that I've given it, and then we can do all sorts of fun things. So, I have a few effects going on in the modular world too, so I can send this sound into, say, for example, clouds, which it is, but you just can't really hear it. You get that kind of rising craziness. Okay, so what I think I want to do here is I want to modulate the slide control. What this does is it basically chooses which point in the waveform it should start playing back, and every time you see the white splice light go on, it means it's playing the sample again, starting from the beginning. So if I apply the maths output, that was the wrong cable. If I apply maths output number 4 and turn on cycle, I'm now sending a relatively slow oscillation for control. And really, the point of this is just to kind of break up what we're hearing, so we're not hearing exactly the same thing. Like that. See, that is a very repeating, obviously repeating sound, whereas if I just kind of randomize its location somewhat, it just kind of makes things a little more interesting. But I'm not even sure I like this particular sample, so I'm going to keep looking for something different. So this is maybe more interesting to me. And then of course you can pitch it. And same with this control here too, the timbre. So what I'm using to kind of add this lower sub-layer grit to this sound is Mutable Instruments Warps, and that is basically a sort of like a ring modulator. It uses two different signals and smashes them together in interesting ways, and it has its own oscillator built in, so you can just set up an an oscillator to work with. So we just have a sine wave running at the moment, and it's kind of smashing into what we're getting from the Morphogen. So if I turn the Morphogen off, and then bring up warps, so this is what we're getting from warps, and you can hear the sound of what the Morphogen is playing in there, but it's also kind of smushing these two signals together in quite interesting ways. And obviously you get these little biting moments. So we're going to drift in and out of that bite point there, going into the timbre input of warps, coming out of the output number 1 on maths. Maths being a kind of a utility module that can be used for a whole bunch of things. But really most of the time I just use it as an LFO. And that's what is happening. Now, the cool thing about that is that, okay, so I can make it cycle, and that's cool. So now it's rotating again, and we can change the speed of that, the intensity of it, but we can also control when the envelope fires. So it's basically a looping envelope, it's a cycling envelope. So instead of having it just kind of constantly oscillating like this, we're going to actually sequence it. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to plug a trigger. I'm going to basically feed the trigger input of this envelope, and now I'm going to send it a pattern, which I can program here on Steppy, IntelliGel's 1U mini sequencer. So I'm in track A, and I'm just going to put a 4 to the floor. So that's what we got. So now, you know, every time it hits one of these little green dots, it fires the envelope. So yeah, it can be quite tricky to dial in exactly where you want it, and things can kind of get out of hand if you're not careful. But that's okay. That sound. Now bring Morphogen back in, and now I just kind of balance them out, because warps can get very loud. And now we've got warps chugging along underneath, and then Erb Verb. I'm sending warps to Erb Verb, which is kind of like a spring tank reverb, and that's kind of just giving it a little extra drama. This is stuff that I've been doing a lot. Recently. So that's cool. Now I can build the drama by turning this one large knob. That's what you want. One knob, one function. Okay, that'll do. So you can hear that the pulsing is in time with the Ableton metronome. And now I'm going to figure out what key we're in. We are in B flat. And I'm glad I spent the time designing this sound, because it's pretty cool. It's doing the job. It's pretty. That's not working for me. another really useful function I have in this system here is I can basically, by ear, play in a melodic scale that I want to use. So I start with, only I can hear this like through a special monitor, so I can basically dial in what I want my scale to be, and then I can play that with the pad. So nope, nearly. Okay, that'll do. So now I have that scale basically kind of saved, and I can then use it on any other instrument. So let's go over to the Nord Lead, really one of my favorite and earliest synthesizer purchases. It's a very simple machine, really, but I'm going to try and make some kind of a bell sound with it. Let's go into manual mode. So this basically is like a panel setting. It just does whatever the panel says it is currently right now. So that's kind of nice already, actually. Just don't want to change that. No, that's cheating. Put this all up to fairly vanilla situation. Envelopes fully open, fast attack, filter open, no filter envelope. Alright, so now we have something, and I can change the wave. And let's see. Too much portamento. Well, that's already sounding quite good, actually. I like that. But well, we're going to have to modulate the pulse width again, I think. We're going to have to do that. So I'm setting up my LFO1 destination to be pulse width, and let's just have it on a triangle wave for now, and I'm going to synchronize my LFOs to the clock, because that's often a good idea. Yeah, I like spiky sounds. I like sounds that have a sharp, snappy attack, and either decay very, very quickly and are super tight, or the opposite, and decay away and do interesting things during their decay phase. And something that you can do is you can map velocity to certain parameters on this synthesizer. This is actually a great exercise for me to keep myself up to date with this synthesizer. So we do velocity morph, and then I always get this wrong, but basically I want to control the LFO1 rate, so I'm going to go velocity morph, and I'm going to turn it up quite high, and then push the button again. And now, if I press the note softly, it plays the LFO at the slowest speed that I set it. No, wrong. Try this again. It's not quite doing what I was hoping it was going to do. I always get this part really confused. It's sort of almost counterintuitive. So now I want to save this. Let's store on. Let's go to 60. I have no idea what's on there. I don't care. Store 60. Okay, that is now on patch 60. Now I can go Nord D and. Something that I use to control things has decided to stop working, which is unfortunate. Let's see if I can fix that real quick on the software. This is a iPad-based control software that I have called Lemur, which allows you to create your own custom MIDI controllers that you use on an iPad or on a any iOS device. And I've been using it to control the lights, or also control some aspects of this. Sort of doing what I was hoping. Oh, there's one aspect that is not working. Note length. Yeah, I lost my mapping somehow. Still playing really long notes. It's annoying. There we go. Okay. Well, that is a shame. I broke a MIDI mapping or something. Something is just not happy. Maybe I can very quickly map this now. Otherwise, I don't want to waste too much more time on this. No. It's just not working for some reason. I have to go and fix that another time. Sorry about that. There we go. At least now I'm getting... Alright, Alright, it's probably about time that I actually made some music, otherwise people are going to get really bored. So, let's make some music. Turn the mic off and play.